Right now, here's a fellow. I never know what Buddy's gonna do. He was on this show. He was like a middle-aged elf. I told you I didn't know what he was gonna do. The best of Buddy Hackett. Would you? Anytime he shows up, it's a great treat. Would you welcome Buddy Hackett? My buddy, my buddy.
I have so many things to open with, I don't know what to start.
Well, first of all,
What?
You see, now that's what I don't have. You got a theme song.
My buddy.
My buddy, and you walk out and right away they identify it.
When Johnny
Joy
comes
has
marching home again, hurrah.
Yeah, but that sounds so corny.
Yeah, well,
That
my
sounds
buddy sounds corny too, but you make it, you walk out with your heart beating, with that look of determination, with, I'll lick you yet, Fairfax Avenue. And you've got that going for you right there, right from the heart.
Did you ever hear Ed Wynn's definition of Fairfax Avenue, how you find Fairfax Avenue? Oh, CBS Television City once.
What?
He said, Ed Wynn, years ago, said, CBS Television City is Fairfax and Beverly Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
And Ed Wynn used to say, he says, you walk down the Fairfax Avenue, and the first window you come to without a tongue in it is CBS Television City.
You
You have to know that it's the Jewish
Fairfax
section.
Avenue is a Jewish section, right?
Right.
And there's a guy walking down Fairfax Avenue one time. He's wearing them high cowboy boots and tight Levi's, just stretched tight as anything across his butt. And a big damn belt buckle on there, say he won the damn rodeo. Striped shirt, silver buckles on the collar, big 10-gallon hat, and said to the little Jewish man, he says, what part of section of this country is this? The guy looked up and said to him, Marlboro country, it's not.
Marlboro country.
You were talking about William Demarest.
Yeah.
I have a story with dirty words in it to tell about him.
You can't do that.
I can't, but instead of the dirty words, I could just say blank, blank. And everyone could fill in their own dirty words. Can I tell that story?
Sure, go
Well,
ahead.
that's
You better say yeah, John, or so help me, you're gonna get one.
That's a whole new approach. As far as I'm concerned, I'm game.
All right, look at this now. William Demarest, and now this is not my story, but I think Ed Wynn might have told it to me.
Right.
Margie Hart, you know, she was a stripper years ago, but I met her when she was an actress, and she was doing Light Up the Sky in Pittsburgh in 1949 with Lynn Barry and Sam Levine. I was working a little gambling joint, first showing on midnight, second show 2:30 a.m., third show 4 o'clock in the morning. Fourth show was me in a car driving back to Brooklyn, broke. You better laugh it up. I love you, folks. You're all hot. William Demarest was booked for 2 years, 104 weeks, with a package. Sun time, Kemp time, whatever they had. Keith Circuit, I don't know. I wasn't around in the vaudeville days. I'm only 50.
You're not 50 yet.
Who's not 50?
You're not 50 years old.
I was 50 years old 2 years from now.
Now, come on, Hack.
I'll
You're
be
at the
40
same
or-
age I am.
No, I'm a year older than you. You 47?
Yeah.
I'm 48. I'll be 49 in August, and if I get to another August after that, I'll be 50.
Yeah.
So for 2 months, you make me a liar.
I'm sorry. Does it bother you that you're going to be 50 years old?
What do I care?
Okay.
I hope I wake up someplace I know, that's all. I'd like to say to somebody, hey, I'm 50. I wouldn't like an answer. Who are you?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you didn't interrupt. You said I told a story about a cemetery.
Yes, I heard
You want to
that.
hear it?
No.
How about another one?
No, now, come on.
How do you know I didn't tell the routine about the cemetery
I
plot?
know what you did. I heard. Somebody told me, and I know that story.
Right. I was living in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And my wife says to me, we got to join the temple. So I said, why? And she said, so the children will know they're Jews. I said, they know they're Jews. They got heartburn all the time. Look, he's laughing like he knows what I'm talking about. You are the Christian of all time.
I know from heartburn.
You do?
Certainly.
Do Christians get heartburn?
Certainly.
Well, don't eat in our restaurant.
Your mother used to make something. It's because of the system.
My mother made a dish, cholent. You know what cholent is? Cholent, you get cheap cuts of meat, see? And you could use expensive meat, too.
Yeah.
But if you got good meat, you don't have to make cholent out of it. You could eat it regular. Cheap cuts of meat with brusfat. You know what that is? Suet.
Suet.
Yeah. Your folks call it suet.
Suet.
Brusfat with cheap meat with chickpeas, garbanzo beans. Or we call them arbus or nahit and geflochtene bulbus.
What's that?
You thought that was blank blank.
Yeah.
It ain't. That's mashed potatoes. But
Okay.
you put potatoes in there, not geflochtene, just bulbus. You cut up the potatoes and put them in there, and it cooks 24 hours. Well, you get a heartburn from that, boy. If you eat that in October, you can go a whole winter without an overcoat. I mean, you got heat. You got heat. Wherever I walk, the snow melted. I thought I was Moses and the Red Sea was melting.
Well, you did a thing once. You
Wait,
said
wait.
that the Gentiles can't eat that food very well.
Well, I'm telling you about it now,
Yeah.
if I ever get there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of stories
I
going
know.
at once now.
Okay.
Don't forget William
I'm
Demarest
glad to
is
get you
waiting
back.
somewhere to do 104 weeks.
That's right, William. We'll put William Demarest over here.
And now, in honor of Marcel Marceau,
Yes?
he better not open his mouth. In his honor, I'm going to tell a story about Yves Montand.
Oh, you are?
Come to think of it, he may not get out here. Oh, no. I'm running hot. I'm going to go good like this. Anyway, my wife says we join a temple. So we join a temple. So Sandy at that time was 3 years old. Ivy was 2. And they got to know they're Jews, right? Lisa wasn't even born yet. What does she have to know? The dog knew he wasn't Jewish. He was eating horse meat. And a Jewish horse don't go, "Meh." A Jewish horse goes, "Meh."
You're hot tonight.
All right,
Oh, you're
good,
hot
I'm
tonight.
gonna be hot.
You're hot tonight.
When you come in half dead from Chicago, I know I gotta do something.
I know, you
John,
said you gotta
because
be
all you're gonna ask me is how do you feel? Sherry, all right? And then you're gonna look at me to talk for an hour. I know. Don't I? You sit there and shine your teeth in my eyes and make it tougher. So those are new. huh?
Oh, biggies. Oh, come on.
So now, we joined the temple. Now I'm a member about 2 weeks, and there's a knock on the door. I open the door. A guy comes and says, "How do you do?" I say, "Hello." He says, "My name is Schweid. 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 I'm from the temple." Now, I don't like the name Schweid. I like Jews, and I like Jewish names, but not Schweid. It's a slippery name. I don't like slippery names. I like a name. Cats, hooks on. Cats, Tellman, hooks in here.
Tellman.
Tellman. I like Goldberg. I don't like Schweid. I don't like, it's slippery. It's slippery. I don't like slippery. Look, I once had a 34 Plymouth. Every time it got a flat tire, it went Schweid. So he says, "I'm from the temple." I said, "Welcome," but I didn't mean it. He said, "I'm from the cemetery committee." I said, "I think you got the wrong house. I'm 34, my wife is 23. I got one kid 3, one kid 2, and the other one ain't born yet. I got a dog, he's 5. You want to take him? Take him. I don't care. Bury him where he is. He digs his own holes wherever he goes anyway. I don't even know he's alive, except I slip on something in the carpet in the morning. Blank, blank. No. So he says, "How would you like to have a cemetery plot?" Well, when you're 34 years old, you don't think about owning no cemetery plot. I said, "How would you like to have a bile over your right eye from a poker?" He said, "The members of the congregation thought we would get together and buy community cemetery plot and be with each other throughout eternity." I said, "I'm not happy to be with you now." He said, "It's for the benefit of the temple." I said, "I'll take a double." No, I got 16 graves. I got to look for friends. Well, I'm going to do it. Well, I figure I can always figure Bayless in. He'll take anything that's free. Right? Right? Youngman, you can give 2 or 3. He'll take it. See? So I figured that's the way we'll go.
So you got all those plots?
Now I got the 16 plots. Now I go down to the Englewood Country Club, which I was a member in those days. See, you got to do something now?
Pretty soon.
All right. So I go down to the Englewood Country Club. And there's Joey Bishop, Dick Shawn, and Phil Foster, and they're playing gin. So they like gin, I like gin. So I had a few gins. And Foster says, Buddy, Joey, Dick, we should get together, buy property, we have investment. I said, how would you guys like to get in on some land I got? So they said, terrific. I said, come on, I'll show you. I get him in a car, drive him to Cedar Grove Cemetery in Paramus. I said, there it is. I think it's a big laugh. Them comedians, them dim-dum. They don't laugh at no other comedian, you know? They don't laugh. They say, look at me. Foster says, Buddy, I think you blew your money. You bought in a dead neighborhood. Joey laughed like this. Hey? Now, I go to the cemetery, I knock on the door of the office, the door opens. I say to the guy, I'd like to see cemetery plot number 130 to 115 inclusive. He says, who is the deceased? I said, nobody died, and Joey's smiling. I said, what's so funny, Joe? He says, nothing. With my normal expression, he's liable to grab me. So I said, nobody died. I just want to take a look at my ground. He said, why? I said, why? I want to see if there's good drainage. And Foster says, yeah, Buddy, even if he perspires a little, he breaks out with a rash on his blank.
I got to do this.
Okay. So I said to the guy, okay, just put up a sign on my piece of ground. Coming. Buddy Hackett and friends.
Here's Edward from History Making News from Detroit. We have just a minute before we have to break away.
Okay. There's a group from England. They're traveling through the back country of Australia. And they see a pack of dingoes, wild dogs, running with them as a little boy, maybe 8 years old, growling, barking, eating raw kangaroo meat. And they take him, and it takes him about, he's maybe 7 or 8 years old, takes him back to England, he bites them, he rips, he tears, takes him a year to communicate, and then they get him started in school, and in a year and a half, he finishes 8 grades of grade school. And then he goes on to high school, and in high school, he specializes in physics and higher mathematics, and finishes high school in 2.5 years and goes to Oxford, and takes him the full 4 years to do Oxford. And he goes on for a master's, and is the foremost authority on space and quantum and physics, and would have been the world's greatest authority today if he hadn't been killed in the streets of London, chasing a car trying to bite the tire.
We'll be right back. My guest tonight, if you didn't know, Buddy Hackett is here, Marcel Marceau. You like mime?
What?
He's great in mime.
Mime?
Yeah, pantomime.
Boy of mine, boy of mine. I'll tell you the Demarest story.
Okay.
So he's booked for 104 weeks, right? And he hates... You're gonna get it. And he hates animal acts. And on a show with him is a guy with trained seals, you know, those guys. And he's got Richie, who was, they were suspect of him. You know, Richie, he was a Richie, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm Richie, fly me to Fire Island, you know, it was one of them. And his cockatoos, he had trained cockatoos. And he would take a pointer and point to the cockatoos. And the cockatoo would say, once upon a time, another cockatoo, there was a prince and a princess lived in a castle. And it would do a whole story. So he wanted to get rid of these 2 acts. Because he used to come out with a cello and sit in a chair and play the cello, and he would tell jokes, and he was hilarious.
It's with Bill Demarest.
Bill Demarest, right. Yeah. So first he gets rid of the seals by taking fish and rubbing it in the gelatins, see? And also, he would feed them before they did the show. See, seals only work when they're starving, and they give them a little fish. But he'd give them a lot of fish. He'd run in, the guy was out to lunch, he'd throw the fish into the seals, and the guy go, yum, ba 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 ba, hi-la, hold on, and the seal, burr. And he'd throw the ball to the seal go, burr. And then, or else he'd just rub the fish on the gelatins, and it'd start to heat up, and it'd smell from fish. The seal run right to the footlights and stick their nose and burn their noses, see? Now, what he did with the cockatoos would be in cages, and when the guy was away, he'd go in and he'd try to train them to say, instead of saying the story, he'd say to them, blank, blank. Blank, blank. The listening audience is at a disadvantage because I already told the studio audience what blank, blank means. And he'd say, blank, 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 blank. And they never said it. For months, they didn't say it. And one day, Richie come out and went to the first cockatoo and said, once upon a time, there was a prince and a princess. Blank, blank. And when that said blank, blank, go to full shot now. When it said blank, blank, this next one went blank, blank. And 40 cockatoos went blank, 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 blank. And Richie went insane with the pointer and started killing the birds. Wham, wham, bam, blood, feather, blank, 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 blank. And he ran out of the theater, into the alley, into the street, and got hit by a car. And he never was seen again.
Oh. All right. Well, we're going to be back. Oh, yes. We're going to be back with, after this word from Budweiser, the king of beers.
A smarter Budweiser beer.